Willie, he ate our Thanksgiving turkey. Raw.
Turkey sushi.
Who disrupts my coronation?
Everyone has been destroyed because of this freak. I won't allow it! These babies just saved this lame fest party!
Hey guys, what's going on? You are listening to ThisWeekInGeek.net. I'm your host, Mike the Birdman, but I'm not alone as we trek into, well, it's going to be the American Thanksgiving this week. For us, it's just another week in November. But I'm not alone as we kind of enjoy this transitional weather period where it's finally starting to feel like winter, fall-ish adjacent. From the city of Kitchener, I'm joined with
Alex, the producer, who's finally not boiling. Because, my God, like I'm in a building that is like 60 years old that has boiler heaters, and they're on a timer. They turn them on because we can't control individual heat for our apartments because it's an older building, right? It's just boiler heated. They turn on the boilers. I think it's like by the last week of October, and we had like 21 degrees Celsius weather for like a week, and with the vents on, that meant my apartment literally was 29 or between 29 and 34 degrees Celsius. It's like I can't sleep, but I also can't use an air conditioner at that time. So literally the last 2 days are the first nights where I was like, ooh, it's kind of chilly. I should close the window. It's like, thank God.
Yeah, here in Guelph, where like I currently reside, my heat has been on, Alex, no word of a lie, since the end of August for some bloody fucking reason. It has been terrible in terms of heat, but this week hasn't been so bad. I'm enjoying these last couple of weeks before the snow comes, just to get out in my wheelchair. However, that being said, I have discovered in the last few weeks, cold really affects the wheelchair life on my battery. So I can't go as far anywhere. Before I could drive across the city 25 kilometers on a really, really good day. Now I'm lucky to get 4 to 7 kilometers.
That's interesting because you know how it is with other devices. Generally, a cooler battery lasts longer because it doesn't overheat.
Yeah, it's so strange because like I've just noticed my battery just doesn't go as far.
Do you think it's the battery, or could it be the motor itself is struggling more with not freezing, but like, you know how things get a little more stiff just when it's cooler out, right?
From what I've heard, it is a common issue with wheelchairs during the winter time. You just won't be able to go as far due to the cold.
But
You
know what? See, I have a solution to this. You're a big
don't go outside.
You're a big Fallout fan, right?
Yeah.
We need a friend who is proficient with diesel engines to like hook up like, I don't know, a 1 or 2 horsepower diesel lawnmower engine or something to the back of your wheelchair, so that in the winter you have a winter tank.
My God, that would be so much fun. I would have
then we just put like a plow and tank treads on the side of you so you can go out in the winter.
I would be the Brotherhood of Steel mobility device, and I could deal with that.
You drive up and down the road plowing everybody's thing for petty cash.
Yep. Like I will plow laneways for Pokemon cards. So as we often do off the top of each and every show, we talk about the week that is and was for us in our personal lives. And this week has been a rather mixed bag for me, in some really fantastic ways. So I had a doctor's appointment this week, and that meant I had to go out of the house, go deal with that. And my wife Blair didn't come with me, so I went out, ran my doctor's appointment, ran my errands, and I come home and I run into one of my other best friends, Jordan, at my house, and I'm thinking, the hell? And he's got this big thing of cardboard he's carrying out of the house. I'm thinking, I don't remember opening anything. Okay, I don't remember Blair putting cardboard in the house.
Oh my God,
what's going on?
He's been trying to rob you this whole time.
So I come in, I drive into the apartment, and he has built this over the bed desk for me. And I'm actually broadcasting from that thing right now. And this is the most comfortable thing I've ever had. So I have my microphone mounted on my desk now, 100% mounted, that I can swivel it, I can swerve it, I can adjust it however I want. My posture's proper. I have a place where I can mount power. Alex is actually, you're helping me get some USB power to this thing. So
yes,
looking forward to Cyber Monday.
Yeah, like if for anybody out there right now looking, a lot of the deals are for these cookie cutter, very shady Chinese companies where they just put a bunch of random letters in their name. It'd be like scissor power, and you're like, what the hell is that? Well, it's these are things that don't really pass proper safety inspections, and they throw them out on Amazon Marketplace for dirt cheap right before Black Friday, hoping they can scam you. The real deals will obviously start either on Thanksgiving Thursday or Black Friday / Cyber Monday. So if you see something that's too good to be true and you don't know the name brand, maybe don't buy it just yet.
Yeah. So he built me this desk. So now I've got everything. I actually have a bed for Beaker and Dutch on the one side. Beaker doesn't mind it. Dutch doesn't seem to overly hate it. In fact, I've actually caught him in there more than a couple of times.
What's the difference between doesn't mind and doesn't overly hate?
Beaker will just kind of be like, oh, here's a bed. Yay, I'm going to cause trouble here. Whereas Dutch is like, this ain't so bad. I think I'm going to hang out here for a while. Okay. He hasn't slept in it a whole lot yet. Although in the middle of the night, Beaker has been a holy terror for the last 2 weeks. He's been climbing on top of my computer, trying to get behind my television. So we had to build this barrier behind the TV with cardboard and everything.
He's the fiend that tries to eat my headphone cables. Is he going after cables?
No, he just wants to get up there for some reason. We actually got up.
Is it the LED lighting?
We don't think so, because we turned it off for a week and we thought it was that, and it's not that at all. He just wants to get up there. So now we have my Lord Draken helmet and my Master Chief helmet up there occupying space. He can't get up anywhere. He can't get behind the TV anymore, but he tries to get on top of my computer, which thankfully we have bungee corded down. So we did that. And then the other thing that happened for me this week, this was actually, I had this incredible streak of good luck and then bad luck, and allow me to frame this. So I was out today going to grab stuff for Christmas baking, which we're actually going to be talking about a little bit later on when we talk about some of our reviews later on in this show. And I was coming out of the grocery store going to 7-Eleven to grab a drink for the way home. And I was buying some Pokemon cards and a Slurpee. And my watch wasn't working with the, I guess the cashier's paying thing, the terminal, the wireless tap terminal.
Yeah, the not NFT, whatever it is, NFC.
Yeah. So, and he's like, dude, don't worry, I got you. And I'm like, oh my God, really? And he's like, yeah, because I just completed Master Set and I want to see more people do it. I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. So this guy paid like $20. I'm like, dude, thank you.
Nerd alert. Wow, you got fans,
nerd.
buddy.
Yeah, that was cool. So I leave, and just as I'm leaving, this older gentleman is trying to get his car into the space beside the 7-Eleven, and he taps me with it. Like, he actually tapped the side where my amputation is, and me and this woman just start giving it to him, because I'm like, you clearly, like, you were not paying attention. I was clearly paying attention. I made sure I had plenty of space behind him. It looked like he was going to let me through. And then he starts backing up and he taps me and I feel my chair start to tip a little bit. And I'm like pounding on his trunk saying, dude, stop. And eventually he comes out, tries to apologize, not in a particularly great manner. And eventually me and this woman, we just kind of get together and we just have a little chit chat. And he's like, hey, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Just a little bit shaken up. But that was, what a weird way to go from having a great day to almost dying.
Now, this is for any of our I guess product partners and friends out there that listen to us. Maybe it's time that you should start marketing and create a dash cam product specifically for wheelchairs. And I don't mean just like a body cam. I mean something that could go right on the front of the chair, just so you can be like, hey, cars, stop backing into me or you're gonna get sued.
Well, I'm kind of wondering if there could be a device that gets mounted to a chair that would trigger those cameras that would be like activate like kind of like an like IR strobe that said, hey, there's a obstacle in your way, do not approach, or something like that.
I'm sure
I mean,
that somebody's probably out there. You know what? If we were to really dig deep, somebody in like the Raspberry Pi or Linux space probably has, made some sort of algorithmic thing for like the Pi camera to do that, because it's going to be part of that kind of community.
yeah. So, I mean, other than that, the only other thing that happened this week, I went to Guelph.
Wait. But you are fine, right?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. Just came home. I was a little bit like,
shaken up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
little shaken up. So other than that, my week concluded. I went to Guelph Spoken Word, which is the poetry slam that I attend. That's been going for 15 years. The woman who started at BA, Beth Ann, retired last night. She's passing it on to some other people. And it was a pretty good slam last night. Unfortunately, I did not place in the top 3 last night. So the guy who won slam walked away with $100. Well deserved win. And it's been incredible just being a part of that community. It's my first time being back in a couple of months. So I went with my friend Skylar and a couple of others, and it was a fairly good time. Other than that, I've been playing some games for review, so hopefully next week I'll have RoboCop Rogue City. I'm working on that right now, and I got a couple other games on the go, and I was able to get myself a copy of Mario RPG, but since I wasn't provided a review copy, I can play that on my own time, and I can actually enjoy it because I never got a chance to play the Super Nintendo original one back in the 90s. So, Alex, what about you, my friend? What have you been up to?
If you were listening to the show this past week, it was a lot of review stuff I'm catching up on, mostly because I wanted to get reviews or at least impressions out before Black Friday, before the big rush happens, because it's one thing to have something coming out this week, but when you only have a few days, most people are already thinking, purely of Thanksgiving in the States, or thinking of the shopping that happens after. Wanted to get some of that stuff out ahead of time. Most of the people in my family are sick, not with COVID, surprisingly, after years of hearing that over and over again, more with a nasty cold.
Yeah, there's
So
a pretty bad flu going around right now.
yeah, like my mom, it's definitely a cold, because there's no fever involved, which is what you get with the flu. But like she's been down and out for almost 2 weeks. My
Ouch.
brother's been out, and he never gets sick. My brother's been out for like, I think 5 days now. And I send him text messages each day. You dead? Let me know. Are you dead? Because if I don't hear from you in a day, I want to know, are you dead? And then if I don't hear anything, I say, all right, if you don't respond to me in an hour, I get everything you own, including your cat and dog. And then magically about 10 minutes later, I'll get a message, you can't keep my dog. So, I mean, they're sort of on the mend from what I hear now. Because of that, didn't really want to go up, because I had been hearing that it had been, not COVID, but just like a really bad, nasty, you know, flu, cold, whatever you want to call it, had been going around with bad bronchitis. And I'm somebody who's pretty susceptible to that. So I've been avoiding that. I've just been playing and reviewing stuff, as well as catching up on some things I hadn't seen before. I, as you know, fell out of Doctor Who fandom when Matt Smith took over, simply because I didn't like him. I didn't like
Mhm.
the writing, and I didn't, pinpoint it at the time. The writing was okay, I guess, the beginning of his season, but it's because I didn't like that the new showrunners that had taken over were just not in my opinion, not quite as talented. And I just didn't care for Matt. I just didn't find him believable. I found him too goofy, beyond goofy, and I was like, this is not fun for me. So I stopped watching. I never saw uh
Capaldi.
or yeah, Capaldi's Doctor. My dad did. He kept watching the whole way through. And Jodie Whitmer.
Whittaker.
Whittaker.
Whittaker. Yeah.
And I skipped all that just because I was like, I heard that when she took over, that the writing team had changed again, and it wasn't just me at that point. Apparently, everybody hated her run. Like, it was just really poor writing, and then they lowered the budget. It was getting really, really poor. But then I had heard that David Tennant was going to be returning this year for 3 specials that are, I think one is airing this week, and then I think the following week and the week after that, leading into who's going to be the 15th Doctor?
The 14th technically.
Is
14th or 15th, I don't know.
Yeah. So he's returned. He's technically the same Doctor, but not the same Doctor. It's one of those sorts of weird things. So I went, you know what? I'm going to go back. I'm not going to watch all of the stuff. Capaldi might have had some good stuff. I'm just not going to have the time to go back and watch all of it. But what I do have the time to go back and watch are the last 3 specials that aired last year with the previous Doctor, because I knew it would lead into whatever's happening now with David Tennant. And as well as Russell T Davies returning as the showrunner, who was the showrunner for the first 4 seasons, plus the movies that David Tennant did. So I went, okay, I'll watch these 3. The first 2, I was like, okay, I can see it's a little hokey. I'll say this right now. I don't think she was a great Doctor.
I've heard she had some pretty cool moments, but the stories were very inconsistent.
I can see that with the first 2, and also her mannerisms, the way she moved around looked very, I don't know, like they weren't doing very many takes, I'll say that. They seemed to settle a lot for the performances. And that's my opinion, but it doesn't seem to only be my opinion. That seems to be everybody. It doesn't mean they're not great actors. They're all people on the team. They're good actors. One guy kept freaking me out because he looked like, and he was like, what if what's his name? The Mickey Blue Eyes,
Mickey Rourke?
no, what's his name? The dude that did what's it called? The British guy that was the bad guy in the new Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Jeremy Irons? No. Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant. What if Hugh Grant was Scottish?
Okay.
That was literally, it was creepy, but I was like, okay. Watched it. The first 2 were okay. The third one was a full hour and a half special that was going to be leading into this, and it was like the big anniversary one, and it was really well done. It had like twice the budget. It looked like the ones from when David Tennant was there. I'm like, oh, it's quite clear that they're making this because this is the grand hurrah. And then we found out after that Disney bought a pretty big stake in the production of the next series. So I watched it. I would suggest, Michael, I know you haven't watched everything. You sort of stopped when Capaldi was in charge, right?
I left about halfway through Capaldi's run, so I wouldn't mind watching those specials. So maybe
because
we could get together and watch that.
Because it's like 2 50-minute specials and then one 1.5 hour special.
Is that the one where somebody gets turned into a Cyberman or something?
They're trying.
I think I saw part of that one.
They're trying to turn the Doctor into a Cyberman.
Okay, I think I may have seen part of that one.
And the Master returns, and they brought back every Doctor that's still alive from before the current series.
Okay.
So they had, I believe it's the 5th Doctor, the 6th Doctor, the 7th Doctor, and the 8th Doctor, who only did the 1995 Fox TV movie.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, where Eric Roberts was the Master. That was the last time that when the series ended in '89, they revived it by having the Doctor come back, Sylvester McCoy, to try to, like, he does this whole transformation into the next Doctor, and they thought, oh, we're going to do this big pilot, it's going to be a big movie, and then the movie tanked. Nobody in the States had ever like really seen Doctor Who on like a massive scale, unless you were a big PBS nerd. as our friends are.
Yeah.
Whereas in Canada, CBC
TVO.
and TVO had like locally, like or provincially TVO, and then CBC on the wider broadcast had always had broadcast rights to it. So we grew up with reruns of it in the early '90s, even if we thought it was hokey. So they brought back all the living doctors to do roles. They even brought they did some sort of look-alike person to make it look like the original Doctor from '63. Um, and the doctors sort of meeting their previous versions of themselves. And I won't spoil too much, except that some of the companions from those periods come back. The two of the most recent companions, I mean, by recent I mean from the mid '80s and late '80s, come
So
back.
like, so like, what's her face? Ace and
Yeah,
some other people.
Ace has the most action, and probably because she's the youngest. I think she's like 59 or 60. So she was actually able to do a bunch of the actiony stuff running around, because a lot of the other companions are in their 70s and 80s, right? Because
Mhm.
especially like there's a companion from like the third Doctor in it, right? Which means that then she's like 90. So they aren't going to make her do any action. But they have them come back. Nobody from the previous stuff that we would have seen, of the modern era, but that was sort of the fun. It was like a nod to the previous stuff. It's worth watching, and obviously I wanted to see it because I wanted to see the transformation into David Tennant, who transforms into Tennant and is just like, I know this face. And he's like, what? And he's like feeling his own face. He's like, what? And then it just ends with what? And then that's how it ends. And it's like, now you got to wait a year till now to figure out what happened. But it is worth it. It's worth watching. A bigger budget, a lot of shit happening in it. It was well worth the watch. I might actually be back into Doctor Who again. And I think this is what they're hoping for, right? So that's sort of been what I've been doing outside of review stuff and getting prepped for that. I plan to go see some movies in theaters. Timing hasn't worked out, so I haven't seen the Marvels yet. I don't think I'm going to. I think that's going to be a streaming movie for me, seeing as how bad it's doing. I can't bring myself to pay money to see it.
I
Uh,
saw it, and it's fine. If you saw it on a matinee and you got nothing else to do, it's fine. Yeah,
yeah, like
I
maybe
I
if
can
I'm
think of
doing
worse ways to kill 2 hours.
yeah, if I'm gonna do a double feature, maybe I might
Mhm.
go see that. But I don't know. If not, and I do want to see Thanksgiving. The hope is that you can find time to come see it with me. If not, I'll probably see it on my own, because it's the only certified fresh Eli Roth movie ever, which
Oh
tells
wow.
me what I was like. What? Okay, I got to see this. And beyond that, I want to see Napoleon, and I'm gonna go see Wish, the Disney movie. But a lot of the other stuff that I've been hoping to see has been pushed back to next year. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much what I've been doing.
All right. So, guys, to give you kind of a preview of what is going to be coming up in the show, we are actually going to be changing things up this week. So, instead of having our weird news segment, weird news has been a little quiet during the last 2 weeks. So during our weird news segment, we're going to be taking a look at some of the Black Friday deals and some of the things we want you guys to check out for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, which will be coming up by the time this show airs. In addition to that, in terms of reviews, got something really cool, which you can get on Black Friday sale. We're going to be talking about the Ninja Creami, which is a countertop appliance that makes ice cream. You might be saying, Mike, why? This has been a remarkable tool in the bariatric circles. So to make high protein, low sugar things, and to give you a preview, I can make Wendy's Frosties at home for a quarter of the calories right now. I'm actually astounded how close this thing tastes. And then we're also going to talk about the big elephant in the room that is now premiering on streaming services as of Friday. We're going to be talking about the new Scott Pilgrim anime series. I had a chance to preview that this last week before its wide release on Friday with Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. We're going to give my thoughts into that. Please don't send hate mail. I guess we'll kind of see with that.
100% of certain critics like it.
Yeah, so we will wait and see what my thoughts are on that. And then, Alex, what are we going to be looking at from you?
Well, as we enter into the holiday gift guide season, we always tend to look at things that are a little different than we do in the rest of the year. And I had an opportunity to check out a gaming computer chair from a company
Ooh,
called Blacklyte. It's a newer startup company based in Canada, which is always, you've already hit 2 points for me. New company, always want to check out new stuff. Canadian company, that's neat. Entering into a space that we know is dominated by, only a handful of very large companies. Like how when you watch a streamer out there, or you go around, how many people are using Secret Lab or DX Racers?
Yeah, like they're almost always DX
It's
Racers or those really heavily branded Secret Lab ones.
Yeah, it's basically those two, maybe a third in that space, and they're trying to enter into that space with something maybe a little bit more economical. So I've got to look at their Athena chair. I had to look at a pre-release version that so my packaging was a little different because I got it sort of before anybody else did. So yay me.
So, all right, guys. So we are going to be taking a look about all that and more, but we got two large stories to talk about in our news cycle this week. One of them has been very hard to avoid, and we're going to be talking about that. So, all right, guys, we will be right back here on ThisWeekInGeek.net. But before we do, we're going to go to the faraway land of Toronto, and we're going to take a look at our Netflix streaming series of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. This is my review. We'll be back, guys, right here on ThisWeekInGeek.net. I've been Mike the Birdman. He's been Alice the producer. We'll be back right after this.
We are Sex Bob!
In your orange shirt, we'll go for your
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here. I'm here to talk about something really cool. We got a chance to preview from our friends over at Netflix, but you can now watch this if you want to check out Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, which is an 8-episode anime series that you can now stream all the episodes all at once right now. So I had a chance to watch this over the course of the last week or so, and I've got a bit of a history with the Scott Pilgrim franchise. One of my old roommates used to be an extra in this movie, which means I heard about this thing endlessly, but I also really enjoyed the video game from Ubisoft that came out not too long afterwards, and I had the privilege of seeing Anna Managuchi perform the entirety of the soundtrack in Toronto a couple of years later, and it was a fantastic experience. So I kind of have this love-hate relationship with the franchise. When I found out that Netflix was going to do an anime adaptation of this, I was actually fairly excited because I've only read the first 3 volumes of the manga, and then I kind of fell off. I saw the movie, and it's only in the last couple of years I've learned to appreciate for what it actually is, and I was actually able to really enjoy it. So when Scott Pilgrim Takes Off got announced, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm gonna see something I've never quite seen before. And well, I definitely got that. And I want to say that I liked it, but I kinda didn't. And maybe I'm not the audience for this because maybe I don't have the nostalgia goggles for this that a lot of people did around the late 2000s and the early 2010s. And it's not to say Scott Pilgrim Takes Off is bad, because the first couple of episodes definitely do their best to stick very close to the source material, but then what you get is a complete hard swerve. And I don't want to say too much more about it because it's going to kind of ruin the experience for a lot of people coming in. But if you're expecting a straight-up adaptation of the material, you are not getting that from what I understand. And it's not entirely a bad thing. There are some moments that are very interesting, and I'm very happy how they take the approach at looking of some of the evil exes and kind of filling in their kind of backstory. I'm particularly fond of the Roxy Richter one, the Lucas Lee one. There's actually kind of a neat homage to Tony Hawk Pro Skater in there, which I think is a particularly well done scene. But for the most part, this seems very focused on Ramona Flowers as played by the original actress. And that's something else too. This unites everybody who was in the original. So Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Kieran Culkin, Brandon Routh, Jason Schwartzman, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. Everybody's back, and everybody turns in a fairly decent performance. There are ones where it feels like it's a little bit, kind of sleepy at times, but the thing definitely looks the part. This feels like an animated version of the manga, for better or for worse. And it's not to say that it's bad, because it's really not looking wise. There are some pretty cool scenes in this, but other times it feels a little bit off to me. And I really wish I was in that camp that would say, oh my god, this is so amazing, you have to watch it right here, right now, your life will not be complete. And this offers a different adaptation of the Scott Pilgrim world, and I've heard other reviewers call it kind of a remix. And a weird analogy I'm going to give to this, it's kind of like with Neon Genesis Evangelion, how they would take the characters and they'd remix them like in the Rebuild movies or in the video games like Girlfriend of Steel. Like, here's the characters that you know and love, but we're going to change things while maintaining a basic plot. It's familiar elements, but different directions. And that's what Scott Pilgrim Takes Off very much does with this. You do get a familiar-ish story, but not the one you necessarily signed up for. And I have a feeling some people may be surprised by that. Other things to note here, I do wish there was more Anamanaguchi soundtrack in this, but I wanted more of the stuff from the video game. So maybe I went in with maybe the wrong expectations for this, and maybe that's on me entirely. The thing I do like about this, though, is the way this ends. I think getting there is a bit of a trick, just because you're going to find out what I mean around probably episode 3, and going on to about episode 6 or 7, you're going to be asking, okay, where is X? And like I said, it's interesting how this ends and how it all kind of wraps up in the message that it's trying to give you, and maybe it's worth it for that. I'm going to say, as for watching this, if you have a Netflix subscription, why not, right? If you're a super fan, odds are you've already watched this show and you're already done with it, and my review means nothing to you. But if you're curious about the world of Scott Pilgrim, what I'm going to say is this. Watch the movie from 2010, then read the manga, then watch this. And if you really wanted to, you could probably put in the video game in there too, because honestly, you could beat that in just a few hours. And it's one of the best games out there right now. There's even a limited edition version of the game that you can pick up from Limited Run Games, and I think that's still available, at least on the secondary market anyhow, and it is worth it. So yeah, what can I say ultimately about Scott Pilgrim Takes Off? I'm going to say it's for super fans only. I liked part of my time with it, but I didn't love it. I did find myself throwing up my hands more than a few times saying, okay, what is this? But again, maybe I'm not the audience for this. And I say this as a person who virtually lived and breathed this whole thing for the better part of a year of my life. So maybe that's coloring my review of this. But I will say there are elements of this that are genuinely enjoyable. Some of the performances are really, really well done. And I do like how it gives some of the characters a little bit more depth. So once again, thank you to our friends over at Netflix for sending this to us, and hopefully we'll be taking a look at more stuff from our friends at Netflix as we move on in the 2024.
Take my hand.
The girl of my dreams? Want to go out sometime?
You want to go on a date? With me?
You like him.
The Prime Minister of Sweden visited Washington today, and my tiny little nipples went to France.
Gossip, rumors, panic in the streets. We're lucky.
This Week in Geek News.
And welcome back to ThisWeekInGeek.net. I'm Mike the Birdman. He's Alex, the producer. And it's time to talk about the news that happened this past week around the entertainment industry, the world of geek, and all the things that, well, typically matter because, hey, we're nerds, dorks, geeks, and dweebs. All right, so this first story comes courtesy of GhostbustersNews.com. Dark Horse Comics announces Ghostbusters back in town, bridging the story between Afterlife and Frozen Empire. It's been a while since we've received an update on the upcoming Ghostbusters comic book series from Dark Horse, but in today's news, stemming from a Screen Rant exclusive, fans have not only been given a new sneak peek, but also a full reveal of the talented team behind the miniseries and the release date for issue 1. Bridging the gap between Ghostbusters Afterlife and next year's sequel, Frozen Empire, David Boer will pen the 4-issue miniseries with Blue Delaquante providing art, while Mildred Lewis and Chris Peter will handle colors. For issue 1, the standard color will be done by Kyle Lambert, with a variant cover created by Steve Morris, with a first look featured below. To give a description of this, you see the San Francisco Bridge, you see the Ecto-1, Paul Rudd's character, Callie, the little girl character, and you get to see Ernie Hudson as Winston in front of the firehouse in New York. It says, given the title of Ghostbusters Back in Town, the miniseries will follow Callie, Gary, Trevor, and Phoebe's move to New York City to ensure a faithful adaptation. The filmmaking duo of Jason Reitman and Gil Keenan have overseen the project, with Reitman telling Screen Rant, quote, our friends at Dark Horse have picked up the Spengler family and hand-delivered them to Manhattan, where they will begin a journey into ghostbusting. It has been a personal thrill to collaborate with this incredible group of artists and storytellers on this new chapter in the Proton Jungle. Earlier this year, as part of the annual Ghostbusters Day celebration, artist Blue Delaquente provided our first sneak peek at the comics, showing off the animated renditions of the Spengler family along with Gary Gruberson. Ghostbusters Back in Town will be available on comic book shelves beginning March 27th, 2024, mere days before Ghostbusters Frozen Empire lands in theaters on Easter weekend. That's pretty cool. I'm really glad to see this. Sounds like it's going to be quote unquote officially canon, but when it comes to stuff like this, if it's not on the screen, it's typically not. But I'm totally fine with this. I think it's cool. It's not like they're going to fight Gozer in between their adventures. It'll probably just detail how they moved, how they got there. It's basically just going to fill in the stuff that dorks like me really kind of care about, like how did they move? Did they find anything else? Did Egon leave any surprises behind at the dirt farm, so to speak? And it looks cool. I can't wait to see what some of the other covers are going to look like, because I guarantee you they'll be retailer exclusives for sure.
If I had to guess, Egon probably left some secret stuff at the New York base without them even knowing.
Yeah, like my guess is they're going to go into the bottom of the firehouse. They'll find Egon's lab, and it's going to be like Callie's birthday unlocks a safe, and like here's a slime blower that has like super slime in it and stuff like that. Because supposedly there was a video showing, I think it was on Instagram the other day, where I think it was the London Ghostbusters got a chance to go behind the scenes, because that's where they film part of Frozen Empire. And I think a slime blower was seen on set. The proton packs have been given a bit of a modification. So we're probably going to see some pretty new equipment designs. Like we know for sure some of the older cast is going to be in it.
Well, for all we know, don't ever put to past Aykroyd and crew to want to put layer upon layer a thing where, they could be like, oh, Egon's got his little lab down here. And then they'll be like, what's in the sub level below that? And they'll be like, what do you mean? What sub level below that? And like something where Aykroyd doesn't even know that, there's a second basement that he worked on or something. You know what I mean? There could be stuff that because he spent like 20 years or 25 years being all conspiracy theory nut, right? So like that, and they could easily, and how they could find something like that could easily be something like they go to his old apartment or something, and they're like, they find a key and they're like, what does this key open? And they'll be like, oh, there's a lock hole within Egon's locker, and when they turn that, it opens a door.
Yeah, like I was listening to some podcast interviews and just other things talking about the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire trailer. And I know one of the guys in it has saying this movie has been described as a long episode of the Ghostbusters cartoon, especially with the red parkas. The red parkas were seen during episodes of the cartoon. There's been like other pieces of equipment that have been seen. I know during Afterlife there was the eyeball ghost, which was a direct reference to one of the Kenner toys. In fact, one of the first toys that I ever owned. So it wouldn't surprise me, Alex, if your theory about Egon's lab, if they put an Easter egg to the unproduced Kenner toy that was prototyped, appears in the movie. In fact, that would make me tremendously happy just for them to put in stuff like maybe they put in the ghost popper for fun, or the weird thing that Venkman uses where he's like squeezing it and it like measures air pressure or something like that.
Oh, I remember that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me if you see more toy Easter eggs in it, or if they bring in something from like, what would really please me, there was a series of figures called Fright Features, where you'd squeeze their arms, squeeze their legs, and their faces or their bodily functions would take on a scared appearance. It wouldn't surprise me if you see a version of Egon's suit appear on a wall or something saying, oh yeah, that was prototyped, but we could never get it to work right or something like that. That would be a fun Easter egg for me.
There'll be something, or you know what I would love to even. If they're like, oh, what's this? It'd be like, oh, it's our disguise, our costumes from like Halloween or something. And then just have the wig for Egon be the giant pompadour.
Yes.
Pompadour. And I would love be like, what's that? And but like they show that, and then the joke be that, oh, it's Bill Murray wore that instead.
There is one thing
stupid like that. They could put stuff like that in there easily and make it a joke.
Oh yeah, like one thing that would slay me, even if it was a post-credit scene for fun. In the original toy line, there was something called the Highway Haunter, and it was a yellow convertible. It was kind of like a Volkswagen Bug, kind of, but it didn't have a roof on it, and it turned into like a praying mantis sort of thing. And it was always, in my mind, it was always marketed as like Janine's Ghostbuster car. I would love to see that make an appearance. That'd be kind of fun. So, I mean, I'm really looking forward to Frozen Empire. Like Erica mentioned, comes out on Easter.
Just don't bring in a fun Slimer unless you're gonna make it good.
Yeah, like I was listening to Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin on their Fat Man Beyond podcast, and they were saying the trailer does one thing right about it. They don't advertise it as this is a movie that will redefine your childhood and you need to see it. They're like, it's a fun sequel like movies were in the 80s and 90s. It was just a sequel that told a story. It doesn't need to be Avengers Endgame level of epicness. It's just, hey, here's something cool. Here's Ghostbusters. And that's all it needs to be.
Exactly.
So this next story has taken on some legs, so to speak, and a lot of people have opinions in the community regarding this. And we here at TWIG are of the mind the accusations look pretty strong. The evidence is certainly there, and if the evidence wasn't as strong as it is, outlets would not be reporting it for fear of being sued.
Actions speak louder than words and opinions.
Yes. So this article comes courtesy of IGN, but has been reported by multiple outlets in the last couple of week or so. So YouTuber The Completionist Open Hand Foundation accused of keeping charitable donations. More than $600,000 has been raised. So the article I'm reading was updated on November 14th. The Open Hand Foundation charity, which YouTuber The Completionist has a, quote, active role and has been accused of keeping public donations despite claiming the money is being spent on dementia research. YouTubers Carl Jopes and Some Ordinary Gamers uploaded videos of their investigation into Gerard Carril, better known online as The Completionist, and his charity Open Hand Foundation. The pair allege that the Open Hand Foundation, which was founded by the completionist's father, Charles Carril, in memory of his wife, Karine, in which the YouTuber says his four siblings play a, quote, active role, according to the website, currently has more than $600,000 in donations untouched in a bank account and has no evidence of paying that money forward to organizations working against dementia. This comes despite the completionists, who boast 1.63 million subscribers on YouTube, running yearly fundraising events called Indie Land, in which online personalities and celebrities come together to raise money directly for the Open Hand Foundation. Quote, Indie Land is a celebration of indie games with a mission to raise money for this charity over a 30-hour span, with tons of developers, influencers, and pop culture icons dropping in for the cause, the website reads. Quote, all proceeds earned during this event go to the Open Hand Foundation. The Completionist has said during these streams, the money raised goes to, quote, organizations all over the world, such as the University of California's San Francisco's, the Alzheimer's Association, and, quote, so many more. The Open Hand Foundation isn't listed as a partner or donor on the Alzheimer's Association website. And while the University of California's San Francisco doesn't keep a list of donors, nothing on its website suggests a connection to the Open Hand Foundation. According to Carl Jobs and some ordinary gamers, publicly available tax filings show the charity has raised $655,520 since its inception, but has donated none of that despite recording tens of thousands of dollars in in administrative expenses. Only 4 years of tax filings were available when IGN attempted to verify those details on the United States Internal Revenue Service websites from 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2020. When asked for an explanation by Carl Jobs, the completionist's brother, Jacques Khalil, said the Open Hand Foundation was, quote, taking a vigilant approach to selecting who should receive the money and has been evaluating potential beneficiaries who align with our vision since its forming. While the Open Hand Foundation claims to have been operating since 2003, it was registered as a nonprofit organization in 2014. Quote, prior to our official registration as a foundation, we donated body parts for research, made financial contributions to an institution that, in our view, made insufficient progress in the fight against these debilitating conditions. This prior experience has taught us the importance of careful consideration in our partnerships and is the reason why we continue to search for a proper partner and recipient of our donations, end quote. The Open Hand Foundation is therefore claiming it hasn't donated any of the raised funds because it has spent the past 9 years searching for a worthy partner to receive that money. This comes despite the completionist claim that during the Indie Land streams that it has actively supported charities and, for example, is one of the, quote, main funding support partners of the University of California, San Francisco. As part of a larger response to Carl Jobs, Jacques Khalid denied any wrongdoing. Quote, while we understand the necessity of due diligence in charitable engagements, this insinuation of wrongdoing on the part of the Open Hand Foundation is both unwarranted and unfounded, he said. Quote, we conduct our operations within the bounds of legal and ethical standards, and any implication to the contrary is baseless. Our foundation has always acted in good faith, and we take suggestions of any impropriety very seriously. We stand firm in our record and integrity. Carl Jobs and some ordinary gamers also provided audio of what is claimed to be a call with the completionist himself. Quote, I knew the money was sitting there at a certain point, and that's what made me proactively go about it, the speaker, allegedly the completionist, said, quote, I was made aware in 2021 that the money hadn't moved yet, and that's what made me go, that's not fucking cool. That's when I got personally involved to move it, and not 2021, last year, 2022. The speaker added, quote, I assumed it was all going to a charity, and I assumed incorrectly. Despite this, the completionist said in a 2023 stream that the Open Hand Foundation was contributing to various organizations, which Carl Jobs and some ordinary gamers alleged he knew otherwise. IGN has reached out to the completionists, the University of California, San Francisco, and the Alzheimer's Association for comment. With 9 years.
Without getting very sweary, I'll say that it's complete bullshit.
In my opinion, as a journalist, if you verify your sources, and again, these are citizen journalists, but if they have the evidence with tax filings, if the audio is indeed verifiable, they have some serious things on their hands.
The problem that I have with this, reading into a few things here, one, if you actually look at the paperwork, because it's a nonprofit, they have to publish their internal documents and their tax, all of their tax papers, everything. They haven't even filled them out properly.
I'd like to know where all these administrative fees are going if the money's not moving.
Well, they're saying that they're saying that no money has been used, but that doesn't account for certain things. They on the actual tax filings, they haven't even filled out stuff. That it hasn't even been signed by anybody certifying their documents. So if you make the argument of we're being ignorant, you could still be held liable and have criminal charges placed against you for fraud, not just in holding the money, but for not actually hiring somebody that can properly deal with the paperwork properly. Because there's entirely is this being used as a slush fund? Is this being held on to as a backup for if the completionist career nosedives and he wants to just have a golden parachute of $1 million.
Now, I wouldn't go that far in my personal opinion,
No,
but
I wouldn't either.
what I
But the problem is, if this wasn't discovered, would they have ever said anything, and would this have just continued to rise till it hit millions?
Now, I've worked with charities before. I'm actually working with one right now. And my question is, if you've been handling this money since its inception of 2014 as part of your administrative costs, why would you not be hiring a consultant that you trust, that has a verifiable background and proven track record of, okay, we're going to donate the money into these places. We're going to do so much here, so much there. Now, one of the things that I've seen floating around with this is we didn't want to donate piecemeal at the time because little amounts don't do much.
They raised like $100K in like the first year.
Yeah. And my argument with that is it would have done good then as opposed now because that money has been reduced.
Well, here's an example. If you let's say it might be a little different. Let's say you raised $1 million in 2014. It's not the amount, but let's say you did, and you held on to it till now, your money is worth about half as much buying power.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Because of the inflation, they've actually lost money. The companies and these research companies and charities and organizations and research facilities have lost money because you didn't donate the money when you were supposed to.
Yeah.
It comes with a belief that within a timely manner, let's say 12 months, within 12 months of raising money, you're expected to pay it. And if they want to make the argument that when your first line of defense is we've done everything within the bounds of the law, that says to me that you are trying to cover your ass to say, hey, we didn't do anything. We didn't do what we were supposed to do, but you can't come after us because we didn't do anything technically illegal.
Yeah, when they said we've done everything within legal and ethical boundaries.
Sure you have.
Something, yeah, if you don't have anything to hide, then why did this take so long? Again,
I'm willing to bet if this was not brought up, we would have been another 10 years until somebody would have said, hey, where's the money going? And then they would have been in even more shit. The only reason they're going to donate the money now, I am 90% sure. The only reason they're donating money now is because they got caught. And whether he had anything to do with it, is his family. You can feign ignorance. You cannot feign ignorance for 10 years.
Yeah, maybe one of the defenses, and again, working in charity, you know what? You want to spend a year looking for somebody? Sure, why not? 2 years? Okay, you're kind of stretching it, but okay, sure. You want to be really sure. 3, now we have to have a conversation.
Or if they want to make the excuse, and they haven't yet, but if they want to say we wanted to raise 1 million first, then you should have said that.
Because that would have probably increased people donating too.
But the fact that you've just been hush, and then there's the website has misspellings on it. It's not even proper English. There's missing words and things are spelled wrong on their website. 2, they're actively collecting under the false guise that they're actively donating. They're not. They're just using it as some sort of savings fund. It's probably in some bank account earning money in a savings account.
Yeah, I would like to see what the results of a true financial audit would look like.
Because if it's just sitting in a bank account accruing money or being used to invest for the fund, then you're actually for profit. Then you're not a nonprofit.
Yeah, I know with certain organizations that I work with, you can take a certain percentage of the money, at least within the province of Ontario, and you can invest it in certain things for it to gain money so you can then do more with it. That's okay, but you have to declare it. You have to be completely transparent.
And it's going to be different state by state in the States too, but the point of a nonprofit is within a year, your mandate is to have made money to donate within that year, unless otherwise stated. That is if they're saying that, hey, nothing in the law says we can't do this is your excuse, then I would ask you, are you saying that there is not a single organization in 9 to 10 years that was worthy, yet other companies have been doing research like this. In the last 3 to 4 years, we have seen multiple episodes of 60 Minutes, multiple episodes up here in Canada of 2020 or W5 and other investigative shows where they discuss major advances that they've done in Alzheimer's research. How come your money didn't go to them?
Yeah, like
There have been breakthroughs with companies that you could have in the last 3 or 4 years even just watched TV and went, "Hey, they did a breakthrough. What research facility is that? They're looking for money. Well, we can give them the money." No, you did nothing, and nothing in their books says that they were looking for anybody.
yeah, like that's my big question too. If you've spent 9 years sitting on this money, where were your consultants? Where were your partners within these research or organizations saying, "Hey, we need the money to make this happen"?
If
And
this was a priority for the completionist, and he may be a nice guy, people say that people might like him. They may think, "Oh, he can't do this because..." No, bullshit. Because he had enough foresight and forethought during the pandemic when everybody was sitting at home and weren't able to go do anything to start planning out multiple things of shows. He came back, did G4, whatever, left there. He spent plenty of time coming up with grand schemes and projects like buying every single thing on the eShop before it closed. Remember that big project he did where he was buying? That took a lot of foresight and thought and planning and effort and logistics and research, and he didn't do jack shit with this money that was sitting in for a charity that he's been shilling for.
yeah, like my
No,
big thing.
bullshit, and found out in 2021. Well, that's before he did all these stunts on YouTube.
Yeah, like this
Did
is something
did
that reeks of negligence,
did that
in my
here's
opinion.
my question. Check the bank accounts. Did that fund his big eShop purchases? Because you can't trust anybody when they do this. He has lost trust, and if anybody is blindly defending somebody, actions speak louder than words. Prove us wrong.
Yeah, like I want all the records to be surrendered without question to the IRS, to a professional, financial, unaffiliated third-party auditor, and say, okay, if we did nothing wrong, then we have nothing to hide.
And at the very least, at this point, contact one of the major hospitals that's doing research on it, and maybe just have
One
somebody
shot.
from one shot from them, or you know what? Well, we're trying to find one place. It's not just one place. You know what you should do? It takes a day to look up online, worldwide, not just in the States, but worldwide, what are the 5 leading leading research hospitals and research firms that are doing the most and have made the most progress with Alzheimer's and dementia research, and cut a check for 1.2, $125,000 to each.
Yeah. Or maybe have a prominent research scientist say, okay, we're going to work with you for the period of, I don't know, however long it takes to donate this money where it needs to go. And that would go a long way to making me feel better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, your trust has been eroded. Your
the
image.
biggest problem is, even if he's good, what this
Nice
shines
people do bad things.
Yes, and what this shines a light on is if he is completely innocent, what that tells me is his family are devious.
Yeah.
Because
And
it's his family in charge of it, nobody else in charge of it. You're telling me that they didn't communicate for 7 years to him, that they were holding on to money he raised, and that he didn't, and that he was continuing to raise, and that they never spent it. That never came up in a conversation with family when you're running a business. This is why a lot of times family should not be running your business.
yeah, exactly. Like this, there should have been more professionals on board. There should have been people who were from the charitable sector saying, hey, here's what we need to do. And again, guys, we're just going to say this is our opinion. We're not saying this, that, or the other thing.
Exactly.
It's not a good look. And
it's how long the negligence happened.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's inexcusable.
A decade. Come on. And you could say, oh, my bad, okay, fine. Then you should divorce yourself of all business dealings with anybody that had their hands on that money. And if you go, well, that's my family, then I'd say, then why should we trust you to do anything ever again? Because you may be ignorant, but you can't play everybody else for fools. Fool me once. You might get away with this once. He will never be able to ask for charity money again. He'll never be able to do an Extra Life run. Because why would we? Because every single comment on his live streams are going to be, where's the money going?
I can say, as someone who's run Extra Life, I'm trying to remember how that works.
It was through sick kids, and you raise money, and it goes into a fund. There's different ways, but I'm using it as an example of if he tries to do a charity run, a charity stream,
that doesn't go directly.
Well, even he'll have to show who it's going to. I don't know if he'll be able to do live streams from now on for charities at all, because it'll be taken over in chat. It'll just be people trolling him about what's he doing with the money, and at that point, it distracts from what they're trying to do. So he, hey, hope you made your money, buddy, because you're kind of screwed.
Yeah,
it's too big an amount. It's too big an amount for too long a time.
Yeah, and again, as someone who's worked in news media, if there wasn't enough strong evidence and receipts, at least enough to get a conversation started, this would not have come up in the news cycle. Lawyers would have quashed this immediately.
No, it's come out, and the reason it's allowed to come out is because people have been able to dig up the public records of the tax postings and the filings, and they've shown that they're not even running the nonprofit organization properly. They don't even have all the paperwork signed properly. It's like a half-baked project, and that's why they're allowed to do it, because no lawyer can defend it, because they haven't even been running or filing the company properly.
Yeah, and again, it is a lot of people have been saying, but he was one of the good ones. And unfortunately, we've seen in the last couple of years, just because somebody's a nice guy doesn't mean they can't do terrible things. And in this case,
different person altogether. But remember how much people love Tommy Tallarico?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you find out what kind of a scumbag he is.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks to see this happen, because from what I hear, he's a genuinely great person. I really have heard that, but that's good guys, defense for being stupid.
Good guys do dumb. Good guys do ignorant. We have to wait and see how hard he doubles down on this, because it's family involved.
Yeah. I hope, it is my sincere hope he'll do the right thing. It is my sincere hope he'll surrender all records voluntarily and say, hey, I have nothing to hide. Yeah. And here's the money. Donate it properly.
Donate all the money, and you and your family should never again be allowed to run a charity fund.
Yeah. This is not something you come back from.
You can participate, but you should never be allowed to be in charge of one again.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but this is the way it is. And I've seen some pretty dumb defenses of this over the past week.
Don't lay off. He's a good guy. Says people who don't actually know the person, other than maybe meeting them once and saying hi.
Yeah. Or the allegations are BS. An organization as large as the outlets that broke this would not have done so without running it past legal. Yeah, some editor-in-chief would have had to say, are you sure? And the receipts speak.
The websites posting it are websites run by multinational corporations that will not let you. You may think that they get to post whatever they want when it's my 10 best things to happen in this video game. No. Those things are easy. Anything posted like this gets passed up through legal.
Yeah. When it runs on a site like Kotaku or IGN, or if it spreads beyond those spheres, they have a legal team. They have an editor-in-chief.
It's
Forbes,
stuff like Bloomberg, and it's hitting financial sites now. Where people are questioning it. And once it hits them, they're not dude bros posting. These are financial journalists and analysts that are starting to question stuff, because it's not very often that charity scams happen anymore because they get caught.
Yeah, I said, I want this to have the best possible result given the evidence, but I want it to be the result that helps the most people. Because as I lost my own grandfather, the person who raised me to dementia, I don't like this. I don't.
My grandmother's going through it right now, and believe me, like there's a lot of research that can be done and should be done in it, and it angers me when somebody has influence that raises money and they sit on it and then go, "Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs, we got caught. I didn't even know we had it. Uh-oh." You
Yeah,
didn't know you had it. You didn't know you raised it. You mean that you're raising all this money over multiple years, doing multiple fundraisers, and you didn't once ask, "Hey, where'd we give it to so we can talk about who we gave it to?"
Yeah, like as a person who's done PR for people, that's the sort of thing where that can get you booked on a talk show, that can get you local newspaper coverage, that can get you national newspaper coverage. If someone had said, "Hey, we saw you raised $600,000 for dementia. You're just a YouTuber who isn't Mr. Beast. How would you like an interview in USA Today or the Chicago Tribune or whatever it is?"
That's the kind of thing that you raise. Let's say you raised 500K and you make an announcement. "Hey guys, look, because they didn't even say how much they raised properly. If they went and said, 'Hey, we raised 500K,' that's the kind of thing where someone like Microsoft or Apple or PlayStation, like Sony, most likely something like Xbox, or even the Game Awards and that will then say, 'Hey, Xbox will go, guess what? That's an amazing thing you guys did. We'll match your 500K to make it $1 million, and we'll give the big check donation at the Game Awards, or
Yeah.
at at the Game Developers Conference, or at PAX."
Yeah,
And they'll do a ceremony. And the reason people started to question it is people kept asking, why hasn't there been a ceremony to show that they gave the money over?
Yeah, like this is something that has amazing PR optics written all over it, because in PR, we have this thing known as the Bank of Goodwill. And the Bank of Goodwill is something you can build up over time, either by doing good things, having a good public image, not being a controversial figure in your particular community. And it's something that's built up over time. It's something a lot of the bigger YouTube personalities, if they're smart, they've been able to get it over a number of years and whatnot. And it's fantastic when you can use it properly. And in my opinion, the Completionist had probably one of the best track records because people liked him. He didn't have much controversy at all following him. And he was always known as that nice guy you could run into at PAX, E3, GDC, whatever.
He's the only one that made it out of the G4 relaunch unscathed. And in fact, probably in a better position than he was beforehand.
Yeah. And this is catastrophic. So my final word on this is, I hope you do the right thing. I hope the records show what it needs to. And I hope this money goes to the people who need it the most, because people deserve to have their faith rewarded in what they believed they were donating to. And I hope this money helps the people who it affects the most. And I guess with that, we're going to take a small break here on This Week in Geek, because this has been a very, very serious topic.
You could donate to Alex's human fund. I swear all the money goes to humans and not just into
robots.
Robots and robots that can feed me grapes in bed. I swear.
Yeah.
I swear. And I promise I'll show you where I donated to. So donate to the human fund. Sorry, God.
Dark humor.
People need to stop being assholes, people, and
exactly
be responsible.
Which kind of transitions into what we're going to talk about next, because we're going to talk about Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Mondays. And you might be wondering, well, what does that mean? Well, if you're American, this is your Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is one of those things.
Are we not stopping the show?
No. We're going to. I'm just going to preface this. So,
okay, because I'm just like, wait a minute, this is a different segment.
So before we transition into our next review, where Alex is going to take a look at the Blacklyte chair that he got for review, I I just want you guys to think about what you're thankful for. And when we come back, we'll talk about some of the things we're thankful for, as I don't think we did a show on Canadian Thanksgiving back in October. So when we come back, we'll talk about that, some of the cool deals that you can get from some of our friends and partners that we've had a chance to take a look at this holiday season so far, and kind of a preview of our upcoming holiday gift guide. But also, these are some deals you can definitely get right now if you act fast. So we'll be back, guys, right after this, right here on ThisWeekInGeek.net.
Alex here, and I want to talk about something a little different. It's that time of year where we start to plan our holiday gift guides, and we usually get to see some more unique and interesting products to review leading into that, for gift guide consideration. And one of these is from a new company called Blacklyte. They are a Canadian company that is producing gaming chairs and furniture, like gaming desk accessories. And I had a chance to check out the Blacklyte Athena chair prior to its release. You can now purchase it on their website. I'll put links in the description for you. And I'm not somebody who's actually owned a gaming chair, like a specifically, designed gaming computer chair ever. I had always sort of been just the standard office chair guy. I had different sizes of those, big and tall office chairs. I had at one point a manager style chair, and then just your standard stuff. And I had seen a lot of people that have gone out and had from big name brands different, racing chair designed computer chairs. And I thought, okay, well, you know what? They've given the opportunity to check it out before it's released. Let's see it. So it arrived in a big box. I was able to take it apart, pretty easily and figure out exactly, which part was for what attachment, as well as it came with instructions. I should note that I had a prototype chair ahead of release, so the instructions that you'll receive in the retail box will be slightly different, and that mine was more of a printed sheet that was pretty simple. And I have had a chance to look at the final retail assembly sheet, and it's much more detailed with very clear instructions with bright pictures and everything. But either instruction set was actually pretty easy to follow, just a little more user-friendly with the final retail version that you'd be getting if you pick it up. It's available in a few different colors. There's black, there is a white, and then there is a pink color, which is kind of neat too. Mine was a black, and it has some pretty neat features. Comes with a lumbar pillow, also a neck pillow, all pretty strong memory foam. The wheelbase is pretty sturdy and strong. I'm a bigger guy, so that's one of my big concerns is this a chair that is rated for a decent amount of weight? And while it's not like an official big and tall chair per se, in comparison to a lot of other office or computer, even gaming chairs, where they have a recommended weight usually of 100 kilograms as the max, this has a recommended of less than 150, which means it's rated for slightly higher than a lot of its contemporaries, which is also a big bonus, because even if you're not a big person and you're sitting on it, let's say, you're only 100 kilograms or 90 kilograms or 80 kilograms in weight, that means this thing's going to last you a heck of a long time, because you're never going to go over the the recommended weight on it. What is one of the bigger features of this is just how maneuverable and how customizable and adjustable the armrests are. You can both raise and lower them, just like you would on a lot of standard chairs. It also has a button you can press that will shift the armrest either innerwards towards your sides or farther out if you have a wider arm gate. There's also the ability for them to tilt inward or outward, like shifting, so depending on how you want to rest your arms on it, which is actually pretty cool. There is a little lever on the side for a full tilt back. We tried that here with my dad and my brother that came over and checked it out, and they leaned it all the way back and they went, whoa, this leans back far. So you can adjust it that way. Just make sure that you're balanced yourself, because it's not going to tip over, but you'll want to make sure that if you're tilting it back like that you turn on the little brakes that are one of the selling features of this, that it has really quiet sort of rubberized outside to the roller wheels, but they also have like a locking mechanism so that they can stay in place. That's something you're going to want to make sure you have on if you're tilting backwards. Then of course there is a lift, to go up and down with a little gas chamber lift, and you can adjust it to pretty much any height you'd want. My brother is 6'5" with longer legs than me, and when he had it at the highest setting, he found that it was just the right height for him. So you can be a taller guy or gal and have no problem at all, which is a big feature because a lot of times you'll find chairs are made for generally shorter people or people that have shorter legs. But to give you an idea, like I'm 6'4", and my inseam on my leg is only 30. So I wear, 30-inch or length leg. Whereas my brother is a 34, yet he's only 1 inch taller than me. So when we sit down next to each other, my head sits above his because I'm all torso height and he's all leg height. So it's got some pretty good range on the adjustability there. And at its lowest setting, my brother's wife, who is, I think she's like 5'3", she was able to sit on it, and once we lowered it down, it was at the right height for her. So it is very good in how much you can adjust it. Quite comfortable, very strong memory foam, decent enough width for the seat itself, good center of balance, and it's very quiet when you're rolling around. I could see it being something you can sit on very comfortably for extended periods of time. Again, if you're somebody who is like on the much larger side of the scale, it isn't something that is rated for like overly big and tall. If you're a plus size person, you might want to consider that. But when you go onto their website, you can actually see the product dimensions and the height and width of everything of the chair, so you can get an idea of if it's going to be a chair that fits you. But I think it's going to fit the vast majority of our listeners. If you're looking for one, it's on the website here. It has an MSRP of $699.99, which you might think, oh, that sounds like a lot. When you consider a lot of other gamer chairs out there are listed at that price in American, you're looking at saving a couple $100 purchasing it in Canada from here. Also in the States, their American site is selling it at a cheaper rate than what you'd see a lot of the other contemporaries. So I can say that if you're on the fence, it's not a poor build quality piece of furniture. It's actually quite high quality at or exceeding what I think a lot of the contemporaries out there are offering. And it's always nice to see a new startup enter into this field and take on the big the big boys out there with a pretty good product that I think is going to satisfy most gamers. And even if you're not a gamer and you just want something that's a nice comfortable chair that's fairly adjustable, it isn't going to completely break the bank as some of the really high-end crazy computer chairs can do. This is something you might want to look at. So I'll put it in the our description for this episode, as well as our gift guide. We'll probably put a feature up for it, and I'm looking forward to seeing more from Blacklyte. Hopefully we can check out some of their other products soon.
Hank, the day after Thanksgiving is, in my opinion, the biggest shopping day of the year, and I will not spend another year giving Dallas Mavericks crap because the cowboy stuff was all sold out.
Hey guys, welcome back to ThisWeekInGeek.net. Now, normally you would hear the weird news here where we talk about the unusual things that have happened upon the big blue marble this week, but we're not doing that this week because we're going to take a couple of moments and to talk about the Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales that have been happening on the internet this week. But we're going to take just a couple minutes here and talk about Thanksgiving, as like I said, I'm pretty sure we didn't do this during the Canadian Thanksgiving here. And a lot of our listeners are based in North America, and a good chunk are in the United States. So just want to take a moment to just say thanks and kind of give thanks. For me, I'd say the thing I'm most thankful for is ultimately still being able to do this show for 16 years, going on 17, with still the same drive and passion that I had the moment we first started back in 2007, all those many, many years ago, and all those many co-hosts ago. I've made a lot of friends on this podcast. I've lost a lot of friends on this podcast, but I've really learned a lot about relationships. I've learned a lot about friendship. I've learned a lot that maybe my family isn't the one I was born into. It's the one that I've chosen for myself. And by having friends like Alex, who's very much become a brother, by having other people on the show like Aaron, who's become a mentor, friends like JT, who is a very interesting fellow, but I sense a very common goal in him. Ken is a person I've learned to depend on when it comes to, if I need a day for not to record a show, I can always be very real with him to tell him what's going on with me. And he gets me. And I'm mostly thankful for the last year becoming friends with people like Enrique and David from Welcome to Primetime, who are just beginning to start a new podcast called Do You Even Movie? And they talk about Thanksgiving in their first episode of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And that's kind of what inspired this today. Just thinking about, I'm most thankful for the relationships that I have. Like I was just saying there, I'm also thankful for people in my personal life, like my friend Jordan, who built me this wonderful desk for Christmas, who's allowed me to record TWIG in a completely new and wonderful manner. I'm thankful for my wife, Blair, who stayed with me for after all these years and all the dumb crap that I've done. I am thankful for the community that I've built here in Guelph with so many of the community organizations I've started to work with, helping out the disabled community, the Indigenous community, and not for clout. One thing I'm very thankful for is the best gift that I can give is knowing that doing the right thing doesn't have to be recognized. And I've been asked a number of times to consider running for public office. And I've always said to them, no, I don't want to. Not because I don't want recognition, because I really, really don't want that. But I'd rather be part of the solution that helps make things better. So I'm thankful for the gifts and lessons that I've learned through all my friends and family over the last couple of years. I've tried to live by the 7 grandfather teachings that comes from my Indigenous background. And it has been a tremendously good year for having good people in my corner. Alex has carried the show when I was really sick, and he's done great things in the background. That stuff that I literally can't do because I'm not smart enough. And I'm thankful for everybody who's ever taken a show on because I'm having a bad day. So that is what I'm thankful for. Thankful for all of you and for all of you that interact with us on the platform formerly known as Twitter, X, whatever. I'm thankful for you. Thankful for everybody who interacts on Facebook, people who interact on Instagram and TikTok. I still get recognized here in the city. And yeah, it's been great. So I'm thankful for all of you. And just thank you for making my life a little bit brighter as we head into 2024. I'm sure when we close out our holiday gift guide, I'll have some similar thoughts, but I'll try and put a little bit more oomph and panache into it when I eloquently sling some words at you in just a couple of weeks. So, Alex, what about you, man? What are you most thankful for this year?
Well, crap. Ditto. You touched on everything. That's not fair. Pretty much everything you said, to be honest. I'm also thankful for cheese, like cheese existing.
That sharp, bitey stuff, especially
I'm
Costco.
I'm not trying to be like funny or rude. It's just I am thankful for cheese. I like cheese. I'm thankful that I'm able to have a roof over my head, and in this the way the economy and the renting market has gone, I'm happy that my family, knock on wood, has the health that they have. I'm happy that my friends are here for me, and I'm happy to always try to be experiencing new things. I'm happy that we have an outlet for our creativity so that we don't go stark raving mad in our houses. And that's, what TWIG has brought me the last 7 years. And 7 years, holy crap.
I know, right? And like, I'm always so thankful the fact that you and Aaron and now Enrique and Dave exposed me to so much new media I just have never seen before. Like Loose Cannon is always that chance for me to see new movies. When Aaron brings me new random old sci-fi movies, or Enrique brings me horror movies, it's always so interesting to say, I never saw this in my youth. I've never experienced it before. So it's always the wealth of knowledge is something I'm definitely thankful for. It's that depth.
The hard part has been trying to find time to record all these extra things with each other, because we want to do a lot, but there's only so many hours in a week, right? So I'm just thankful that we can record and do what we can when we can.
Yeah. I mean, it's been good. And like I said, we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up. We've been recording a few things that are really looking forward to releasing over the holiday break. So it's going to be good. But that being said, speaking of things that are good, it's time to talk about the meat and potatoes of this segment, and that is the Black Friday.
I've got some flyers up, and these are going to be, the flyers at least, are going to be Canadian flyers, because obviously we're based in Canada. There are going to be similar deals in the States. And I know that you've got some things to talk about that are going to be more Canada/US international.
Yeah.
Would you like me to sort of just briefly go over some of the things I've seen in these
Yeah,
flyers?
sure. Go for it.
Because in today's day and age, we don't really get the big flyers delivered to the home anymore, right? I don't know about
Yeah,
wherever you guys are living, but we don't anymore. Maybe once or twice a year we get proper flyers. So it's all digital. So I've gone and sort of skimmed through Walmart, which is going to have similar deals to the States and Canada. Sometimes they have slightly different SKU numbers because there might be the Canadian version might be something like, one letter off and it does the same thing. But they've got, if you're looking for a television under $200, they got a 43-inch of their own brand ONN. That's a Walmart brand. It's not going to be great. It's not going to be blowing your socks off anywhere, but it does have it's Roku built into it. It's 1080p. So if you just need something that is bigger than what you've previously had, it might be worth looking at. But if you're going to look for anything bigger or anything, 4K, and that, you do have to up your price point to like the $300 price range. But I thought I'd mention that you can get a TV between a 32 and 43-inch sub $200, which for our American friends would be something like paying $120. So that's pretty good. Now, there is an advertised bundle for the PlayStation 5, and it's the new PlayStation Slim, I guess, with the one with the built-in removable but built-in disk drive, one you can remove, and it comes with Spider-Man 2. They're saying it's $649. So what they're saying is they bundle in a digital copy, like a $90 copy of Spider-Man 2, $649. So you're likely would be the game that you'd probably want to buy this year anyway if you're getting a PlayStation bundle. So that I think is pretty good. Also, something to keep in mind is that the Slim actually has more storage space. It has a full terabyte instead of the 825 gigs that ours came with. So, in your case, this would be the kind of thing where it's like, maybe you would, if you've somebody who's had just a digital edition previously, you might want to sell yours, get a few $100 and then upgrade to the one with the removable drives for somebody who maybe wants to actually get physical discs to play or watch movies on physical discs, and you don't have other means like on an Xbox Series X or a standalone player. This is a pretty good way to get a solid Blu-ray player, an Ultra HD player. That bonus to it is, if the disc drive in my launch PS5 breaks, I'm kind of screwed. If the disc player breaks in the new Slim, you just pop it off and either have it serviced or buy a new one and pop it on. So that's something to consider. $650 Canadian. If you are an American listener and you're thinking that's kind of crazy, remember that everywhere except the States had their prices increased during the pandemic. So there's that. If you want a Series X console, it's $600. So
I have seen them go as low as $525 if you look at places like Shoppers Drug Mart and Staples.
Yeah, that
look
might be,
around.
Yeah, look around, but don't go rushing, because they're saying $50 off because they raised their prices here too. So you're looking at $600 for an Xbox Series X at Walmart, or $650 for the PS5, which is the slim version. It's the revision, so it's already a better performing console and has Spider-Man come with it. You don't get anything with the Xbox, but it is still a nice brick. It's a heavy duty big boy, but it does play pretty much any media format out there. So if you're looking for something that'll play everything you want to play as a media center, the Xbox is probably your better bet. But if you're looking for Spider-Man already, maybe looking to upgrade or get your first PS5, that's probably worth it as well. Other, bigger deals, like there's going to be stuff on cheap, junky tablets and stuff. If it looks too good to be true, I'll tell you right now, don't grab it. Like that ONN on brand from Walmart, $68 7-inch tablet. You're better off getting an Amazon Kindle Fire, to be honest, because it's going to be old tech. So, if it looks too good to be true, don't bother, because it's going to be junk that the kids throw out anyway. But back to their actual gaming stuff, you can pick up a Nintendo Switch Lite bundle, which has Animal Crossing built in, or a download code for it. $259. Remember, that's the one that only plays portable. If you're somebody who's been looking to get into the VR space, the MetaQuest 2 all-in-one headset. Now the 3 is out, but if you want to get the 2, which is what I have, which previously went up in price by a couple $100, has now been brought down to $349. I paid $399 for it 2 years ago. So it is on sale. It is also a larger storage capacity than mine. Mine was 32 gigs. These are going to be, I think, the 64 gig or 128 model. So you get a little more there. Also, new releases for controllers. The PDP Afterglow Wave Wire controller, one of which I actually covered on the show last week, is on sale now at Walmart. They want $40 Canadian. It is MSRP'd at $50. It's a pretty good controller, so it might be something you want to check out if you're looking for a third party. And then, of course, they always have like the bundles of different packages of games where it's like, here, pick from these select games at a select price point. Nintendo games, almost never go down in price, but you could pick up the same sort of standard with Zelda, Kirby, Luigi's Mansion 3, $55 regularly, I think 80, because they never come down in price. At the $30 price point, you can get Spider-Man Miles Morales, and that's probably the only good one. The rest are sports titles at the $30 price point for PS5. At the $40 price point, there's a couple titles like Ghost of Tsushima, the PS5 version. I know you love that game.
Oh my God, so worth it.
Yeah, like it's regularly $89 because remember, it's the version that came out a year later that's specifically for PS5. So you can get that for $40. If you're already buying a console, that's one of the good ones to get. It was a cross-generation transitional title, but it already was good enough on PS4. And then Horizon is that price point as well, the complete collection. At the $50 price point, you can get Assassin's Creed Mirage, regularly $89, which pretty darn good. I mean, we had a good time playing that.
Oh yeah.
God of War Ragnarok, PS5 version's $50. That's a good deal too, because that is one of the best games of the last several years for sure. And then at the $45 price point, it's a lot of sports titles this year. You'll notice that. And let's be honest, the sports titles aren't worth it. If you didn't buy it at launch, it's probably not worth it now. So keep that in mind.
And plus, a lot of them you can access via I think the EA Pass if you have the add-on for PlayStation or Xbox Game Pass.
Exactly. There's always an option for that as well. And the same goes for some of the Ubisoft titles. You can actually have a subscription to get those games too. So it might be worth subscribing for a month for $20 or $10, whatever the add-on price is for it, and then just playing those games during the holidays if you're not somebody who's keen on collecting physical editions.
I was about to say, to kind of talk about some of those things that like you were going to mention. I know for sale right now in some of the flyers you can get, and also on PlayStation Plus, you can get Mortal Kombat 1 is I think $20 or $30 off right now. You can get Resident Evil 4, which is one of the best titles to come out this year. I think it's a Game of the Year contender at the Game Awards. That's definitely worth kind of looking at. I think I just mentioned Street Fighter 6 is I think $20 or $30 off. A lot of people forget that Star Wars Jedi Survivor came out this year, and that's at a significant discount too, and that is absolutely worth your time. Now that they've added new game plus, you can unlock different lightsaber colors and all sorts of crazy crap once you beat the game. It's a fantastic story too. Like there's a lot of really good stuff out there if you want to play.
Black Friday deals are already popping up for GameStop Canada, formerly known as EB Games, which I find it funny that they transitioned the name completely to GameStop right when everything was tanking for them. But they have a separate bundle. Their PS5 bundle comes with Modern Warfare 3. Go to Walmart and get the Spider-Man bundle. Don't get the Modern Warfare 3 bundle. It's not worth the price point. Let's be honest. You get a better value if you get the Spider-Man bundle, right?
Yeah. I mean, Spider-Man provides you a better single-player experience that'll last you like 20, 25 hours.
Spider-Man provides you a $90 game.
Yeah, whereas Modern Warfare, unless you're really into the multiplayer and in the zombies, not so much. But as of this recording, me and Alex will have our full review of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 coming out probably on Wednesday at some point, maybe Thursday. But either way, you're going to hear that this week.
I'm saying that just as somebody who is like, if you're looking for what is the
100% best value,
numbers only best value for the dollar, it's going to be Spider-Man. It just is.
Head and shoulders.
That would be like, it's hard to beat when it's a first party title. You know what I mean? Because first party games, they don't drop in price. Call of Duty games do eventually drop in price. So other deals that they have is they all seem to have God of War Ragnarok on sale. One that you might be interested in if you're getting a PS5 is The Last of Us Part 1, the one that I reviewed. I believe, did you get a review copy of that as well?
I did, yeah, and it was utterly fantastic.
Now, the reason that is, it's down to $50 Canadian, down from 90, right when it was announced, I guess sort of leaked, and then they had to confirm it that The Last of Us Part 2 is getting a deluxe remastered version for the PlayStation 5 as well. So looking for that, I think it was January 24th is what they announced for it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so if that's the case, and I'm pretty sure that's the case, you might want to pick this one up now, because you're going to, be able to go through that graphical fidelity upgrade, in a 1-2 punch this way. You'll beat this game just in time for the new version to come out of the second game. Another great deal here is Final Fantasy 16. They have the deluxe version listed at $80. Don't get the deluxe version. It's just a steelbook case, which is not the best quality steelbook case, and a couple digital downloads that are ultimately useless after about 10 minutes into the game. So it's only worth getting the standard edition, because the standard edition is $49, and it's well worth that for a single player, high quality, very like a visual feast at that price point. Skip all of the sports titles. Like I said, there's other titles on sale that are like, maybe. If you want physical, like you said, Mortal Kombat 1, they have it for $20 off, which is pretty good for a fighting game that only came out a little bit ago. Usually you have to wait a year till you start to see any discounts on fighting games, if not longer sometimes if they're popular. So that's a good deal. And then, of course, there's going to be other deals on some of the previous games that came out, or used games. They're always trying to sell those. Obviously, like if you're somebody who doesn't mind getting used copies of games, or what do they call them, recertified or renewed or whatever, they're worth it. But there isn't a whole heck of a lot of crazy good deals this year, and I think that's just sort of a sign of the times when it comes to with inflation being what it's been in the market and everything. I always try to check out some of the other companies like London Drug, because remember London Drug back when I think it was the PS5 came out, and when the Switch came out and all this, they were one of the few places where you could find consoles, because nobody thought about London Drug. But nothing really spectacular at London Drug this year, neither with the Real Canadian Superstore. Staples, if you're looking for computer hardware, you're probably going to find a better deal elsewhere. Nothing big on their front page, so I wouldn't waste my time with them this year. The one final one I'll say is Toys R Us. For our American listeners, yes, Toys R Us exists here still. It's actually still pretty big. It's the biggest toy retailer in Canada still. I guess in the States, haven't they had some pop-ups happen at Target or something?
No, I think they're inside of Macy's or something like that.
Is that what it was, or something like that?
Or something.
Whereas here, Toys R Us is still full-size, like giant
retail.
box. Yeah. They, keep an eye on them. For those of you at the border, because of their large size, even in comparison to the States, even though we're a smaller market, they're still, they're probably the biggest toy retailer outside of like Walmart when you consider it, because of the fact that there isn't really anybody in the States doing it. If you live near the border, you might want to make a trip up here just to see what they've got in store, because you're going to have a better options when it comes to money conversion. Especially if you come up here, use your credit card or something. I don't know. I don't think they use Interac. They have a different name for it, for their debit cards. But, even with conversions or fees that you might have, you're probably going to save a bunch, because they're going to have buying power to have deals on everything from, kids' toys to games to model kits and things that you might be able to get cheaper than you can get on Amazon, or getting it shipped down to the States. So
now,
our border friends, keep an eye out.
Now, I was actually in Toys R Us the other day because, of course, I was. I know they do have a deal for Transformers, where you can get anything that is um, the studio series, which is the toys that I typically review here on the show. Stuff that's very collector focused. I think you
It's
can get I think it's buy one get one 40% off.
Transformers Gen Legacy figures. It says assortments. Everything from the Generation Legacy is 50% off.
That is completely worth it, depending on the,
$20 Canadian, meaning if you're an American wanting to come up and you want to get your shopping done up here and probably avoid some of the crazy crowds down in the States, you'd be looking at $15 a figure.
Yeah, and you will find a lot of older stuff just because Canada is a little bit behind when it comes to getting some of the newer stuff. But if you do live in a border city, you are more likely to find some of the newer figures. But obviously, if you're looking for Transformers, your best bet are still your Targets, your Walmarts, your Walgreens. But coming up here, if you did miss a figure in say an older wave, like if you wanted to get something that might work for the Legacy collection. So if you wanted to get a piece of Menasor. So if you maybe want to find a Dead End or a Wild Rider or anything like that, you might be able to find that. I know Tarantulas is showing up cheap. Like, just look around. You might be very surprised what you might find.
Yeah, like basically if you're like Ontario bound, because there's more stores of Toys R Us, I think, in Ontario than
anywhere else.
Yeah. So our Detroit, our Buffalo friends, they're willing to come up and drive over. It's not just that. There's Transformers Rescue Bots Academy. All those classic heroes toy line is 50% off.
Earth Spark stuff is really worth it.
Yeah. If you got like really little ones in your family, the little people, it's like, you remember those like little, I think it's just called little people, like those play sets. Those are
play schools type stuff, right?
Yeah. Everything from Playmobil is 50% off.
If I had to give one recommendation from anything Playmobil, if you can find it, and I don't know if it's on sale, and I really hope it is, the Ghostbuster stuff is fantastic, like literally next level. I've got both versions of the Ecto-1, and I am so not sorry. My sister bought me the DeLorean. It's astounding. There's an A-Team one. There's a James Bond one. Anything licensed that Playmobil does is next level. Like,
if
like
you're an
astounding level.
If you're an AEW fan, all AEW figures and toys and playsets and belts, all 30% off.
Yeah, like that's a fantastic deal.
All 7-inch GI Joe figures from any series are now $15.
Yeah,
so
seriously, do like not sleep on G.I. Joe Declassified. If I had to give some recommendations, if you can find the Bat Trooper, which is the Battle Android Trooper, Shipwreck's a fantastic figure. Grunt, if you want some of the older figures like Roadblock, Lady J. I think Crocmaster is one that's worth kind of checking out. I think Barbecue and Blowtorch are available, if I'm not mistaken. If you can find the Snake Eyes that has Timberwolf.
All Pokemon plush toys are 25% off.
Yeah.
Most board games they say for grown-ups, basically anybody 14 plus. All these board games are 30% off. Family board games, like classic ones, like Sorry and Trouble and all that, they're 40% off. They have a buy two get one, or buy two get a third free on all playing card decks, which some of them are licensed, some of them are fancy looking. Beyond that, and these are the pre ones. They said that they're going to have stuff like in this pre/Black Friday week stuff. They said that there are going to have stuff that is only available in the stores. You'll have to show up to see what the real specials are for Black Friday, the day itself. So they're trying to entice people out too. So, hey, here's some good deals, but by the way, we'll have some door crashers as well. So
yeah,
you're not sure necessarily exactly what they're going to be. Lego sets are on sale. You remember that placemat or the playmat where it's like the little kids town? It's like a rug that you
Oh yeah.
E-cars on it.
Everybody had it except me, but yeah.
Yes, we had one we got from a garage sale. Well, the guy that I think drew that passed away this year or last year.
I think so.
A few weeks ago. That classic playmat is 50% off, $12, and they're including a couple toy cars to play on it. So that's a pretty cool set. Like normally you'd be looking at $25 for the playmat, and then you'd be looking at like $10 for the cars, so like 35. You get $12.50 for $35 worth of toys, and that playmat can be used for basically anything. It became my like base of operations for every action figure for a long time when I was a little kid, right? So, and then beyond that, of course, they've got things like Trolls that are on sale because the new movie's out in theaters now, I think, as of this recording. And they've got some of the newer lines of that stuff on sale for 10 to 20% off. Lots of stuff. So again, for our American friends who are collector fans or have kids or want to buy toys, don't forget and don't sleep on it that Toys R Us is still a big thing up here, and they still have the buying power to actually provide these kind of deals.
So some of the things that I want to mention, and Alex is going to post the website, because this is going to be the review you're going to hear next from me. But the guys that make those Ninja food appliances, they've got a sale going on right now. And the item that I'm reviewing this week is the Ninja Creami, which is this ice cream maker that has been making huge waves in the bariatric health community right now. You should definitely be checking that out. One of the things that will be featured in a holiday gift guide, maybe in a review show later on this week, will be the Ninja Foodie Power Mixer System. Let's just say it has leveled up my wife's holiday baking game to the next level. So any weight I've lost has now been negligible, just because this thing has made cooking so much easier. Like seriously, go there and check that out. Like these are, if you live in a college dorm, these are great to have. If you want to, again, just change how your kind of eating habits are, these are great things to have like in your home in general. I'm honestly surprised how useful they have been and how much they can really change your eating habits and lead toward a healthier kind of lifestyle. To go back to Walmart for a moment, if you are into Pokemon cards like I am, I know Walmart has a pretty significant collection of cards on for at least 25% off for like most tins and even elite trainer boxes. So if you're into the new Paradox Rift, but if you also want older stuff like Paldea Evolved, Obsidian Flame, I actually got a Pokemon Go Elite Trainer box with features Mewtwo on it for like $60 Canadian. And that normally retails for a hell of a lot more. You can also find Pokemon 151, which has the booster bundles, has the poster collections, the deck things where it's like, where it gives you the selection of Alakazam and Zapdos and stuff like that, and the binder, which features Squirtle, Pikachu, or Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur. You can get that at discount, but you can also get some older box sets for the Galarian birds, so stuff like that. So check them out. But there's a big yellow box set, which I think you get 6 boosters for like $25-$30. That's a really good deal, and there are some really good pulls in that set. And then this I want to highlight because I've reviewed a bunch of their games this year. So for the entire month of November, Renegade Game Studios, the same company that produces Transformers, Power Rangers, G.I. Joe, My Little Pony, Vampire the Masquerade, they are giving a free PDF away with each book that you buy there. So if you don't want to bring out your physical books to your local game convention or your local gaming table, it's a lot easier to pass around a tablet than it is to pass around a physical book, especially if someone decides to spill soda on it, not naming names.
And in that case, that might be one of the use cases for one of those like $50-$60 tablets you see on sale for Black Friday or Cyber Monday, whether it be an Amazon Fire tablet or the Walmart one. Don't expect to do gaming on them, but it doesn't mean they can't be perfect for passing around PDFs at a table.
Exactly. Yeah, like, and honestly, a lot of the Renegade Game Studio stuff this year has hit tremendously well. Like some of the books that I really want to kind of highlight from them this year is they did something called the Essence 20 Role-Playing Systems Field Guide to Action and Adventure. That's where you can cross over Power Rangers, G.I. Joe, and Transformers. Although, in theory, you could have Starscream fight Rainbow Dash from My Little Pony. I think the rules are fairly compatible. I'm going to be taking a look at that later on. Another book that is absolutely essential you can grab is the Cobra Codex, which gives you stats for a lot of the main Joes. But if you want to have a Cobra-focused campaign, I know I reviewed that game a couple of weeks ago here on the show. They've got the Decepticon Directive, which is the Decepticon book. You can also get the Sergeant Slaughter pack from G.I. Joe. Like, there's so much good stuff coming out of Renegade Game Studios. When it comes to anybody who handles licensed IP, they're kind of becoming my favorite game company outside of the company that I work with for like Star Trek, because you feel the love behind the material and they're supporting it, and having access to a PDF is so fantastic and so easily available for so many people. So while you're waiting for your book to ship, you can have the PDF like right then and there. So that's really accessible. So really, again, guys, go to renegadegamestudios.com. Anything Essence 20, you get a free PDF whenever you buy something. That is fantastic value. Like I said, I really support these guys. And a lot of their stuff is going to be in a special holiday gift guide selection this year where I dedicate to role-playing games. I didn't see a lot of whole other sales for like Dungeons and Dragons, but do not be surprised if Amazon puts on a sale, because they typically do around like 40% off or buy two, get one free. I don't know if they're going to do that this year, but do not be surprised if that does pop up.
Yeah, like it's Black Friday week for us leading up to it, but remember that there are going to be stuff that sales go on right before, or you'll see it posted the day of. So these are just some, like, if you want to jump on things early or you have an idea, maybe think about it now. And then, there's going to be stuff on this coming Friday, and then all the way through until Monday when all of the digital deals start going live for Cyber Monday.
Yeah, so like I said, there's some really, really, really cool stuff out there that like you can check out. I really hope you guys end up doing this. So again, guys, this is what you can check out as you do some of your holiday shopping, as you do Thanksgiving madness. So hopefully you won't end up in a planes, trains, and automobile situation.
Don't
God
trample
forbid.
each other for a $2 toaster. It's not worth it.
Absolutely. So guys, we're going to take a small break here on This Week in Geek, and we're going to go into the review that I talked about just a moment ago, where I talk about the Ninja Creami. This thing's going to change how I lose weight in 2024. Kind of excited. So I'm going to enjoy my non-Wendy's Frosty, but it's just as good. So we'll be back, guys, right after this, only on This Week in Geek. Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here. I'm here to talk about something really cool we got from our friends over at Ninja. We're going to be talking about the Ninja Creami NC301C. This is an ice cream, gelato, milkshake, sorbet, smoothie bowl, and light ice cream maker that has a 7 one-touch program. So I've been seeing this thing on TikTok for quite some time. So about a year and change ago, my wife and I both had bariatric surgery to help us maintain a healthy lifestyle, lose some significant amount of weight, and for the most part, our journeys have been fairly successful. But this is one of those toolkits that we've seen people use in their journey to a healthy lifestyle that has been utterly invaluable. You might be saying, well, what difference does an appliance make? Well, what this does, because we have different nutritional requirements. We basically have to eat super high in protein, low in fat, and lower in sugar. But, we live in North America, so everybody wants the super high fat and sugar stuff. It's just kind of the way the North American lifestyle is. And when you have bariatric surgery, that's not so much a good idea. So what this thing is, it allows you to create all these different amazing concoctions that are kind of amazing. In fact, as we got this thing for review, my wife made this like proteiny ice cream concoction thing, and I would be lying to you if I told you it didn't taste 99.9% like a Wendy's Frosty by using chocolate, protein powder, and whatever recipe magic she was able to concoct for this thing. And I was utterly blown away by just how good it was. And the fact that this fulfills nutritional requirements for us really kind of blows my mind. And as we go into the holiday season, this is definitely something you're going to want to have in your toolkit to do different types of holiday baking, holiday busy any sort of cooking, but also if you're a student and you want to live a little bit healthier as you're living in dorms or residence coming up to the next semester, I could see this being also invaluable too as well. Like, this is just one of those kitchen appliances that reaches right across the spectrum. And if it wasn't for TikTok, I may have never have even found out about this. I'm really amazed by how easy this thing is to use, how many recipes exist out there, be it on TikTok, Instagram, or Pinterest. Like, if you want to get a hold of this thing, not kidding, you're really going to have to try hard to find this thing, because this thing does not stay in stock very long. That is how highly in demand this thing is. So as of right now, as of this recording, there is a Black Friday sale. I highly recommend you check that out. This is most definitely getting a recommendation in our holiday gift guide, and this is now a great tool for us to have in our belts over here at This Week in Geek for me and my wife to live a healthier, happier lifestyle as we move forward. So once again, this has been the Ninja Creami NC301C, basically does everything machine. You want to check this out. This thing retails for about $250 Canadian. Trust me, this thing is astounding.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey guys, welcome back to ThisWeekInGeek.net, and thank you for joining us for this definitely different show here on the TWIG. And yeah, we talked about Thanksgiving. We've had some awesome reviews from Blacklyte. Big thanks to our friends at Ninja and Netflix for sending over a early preview screener of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, which you can now stream on Netflix.com or any of your smart devices. So yeah, me and Alex have a pretty packed week of recording. We're going to be recording the Doctor Who specials with Aaron, which is going to be really exciting, as I've never seen any of the movies from the 1960s. We're going to be recording our review of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, mostly talking about campaign. I'll be talking about some of the multiplayer and some of the zombie stuff. I'm not going to be talking about Warzone because it's literally the same thing, maybe with some minor tweaks, but they don't tend to change Warzone, so it's a universal experience across all kind of platforms. We have some thoughts, we'll say, about that particular title this year. What else we got? We're probably going to record Star Trek in the next 2 weeks, as we definitely want to get that done before the end of the year, because I know Prodigy Season 2 is out on Blu-ray right now. What else did we want to talk about? I know I recently started watching DS9, which, by the way, the first season isn't that bad, and Chief O'Brien's a boss.
Well,
although Dr. Bashir is a pest, I will say that.
Well, yeah, he starts out that way. And we've got a bunch of other stuff, but it's just no point in saying what specifically, because we've got plans to have things recorded to release when we're on our hiatus.
Yeah,
so
like
there's that stuff on the go, plus plenty of episodes of Earth versus Soup. Plus, there's a loose cannon on anime that is done. We're just figuring out what week we should it's either going to drop next week or the week after that, depending on scheduling. And then beyond that, we've got some stuff in the works. It's mostly like, hey, we're in a holding pattern until Black Friday stuff is all recorded and over with, and then it's on to the big 1-2 punch that we have every December, which is the first week of December. We always have the Game Awards coverage for the prototype, and then our holiday gift guide usually a day or two after that.
Yeah, so the last live show for TWIG will probably be, I think Alex and I decided December 4th will be the last live show, but during that week, as Alex just said, we're going to have our Game Awards show and the big holiday gift guide show that'll be dropping on... Holiday gift guide should go live on December 9th. So you have plenty of shopping time to hit up Amazon or your local kind of retailers, whatnot. Game Awards coverage will probably come out the day afterwards, just so we have a little bit of time to digest that. I know I'm recording some stuff with David Denoyer that'll be coming out in December. He actually pitched to me a couple of really cool ideas that we should be able to almost maybe even take into the new year. I have recorded an episode of Botched Roll. I recorded an interview with Matt Forbeck, who is the designer of the new Marvel role-playing game, Marvel, the Universal role-playing, how him and his son designed that game, featuring the new 616 die system for that particular title. I'm going to edit that this week, so it'll probably come out sometime. My guess is either next week or early December. So that'll be some content. I am still recording some stuff regarding my ongoing Star Wars campaign, which I'm currently in the middle of planning right now for my private group and whatnot. And then, yeah, I know I've got some stuff I want to record with JT and Ken. JT's pitching a show right now that I think will probably premiere sometime early next year, about the Marvel universe. That'll probably be tied into Sunday Funnies. It's just trying to get people wrangled right now, but with holiday stuff. Good luck. And I know we're going to do something on the Mortal Kombat film universe, because I didn't realize how big this was till I went down to The Beat Goes On to track down some of these movies, and I'm like, oh my god, this is a stack. Why did this get so huge, and why did I not know about some of these? So I guess I'm a bad competeer, whatever you want to call me. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about on the program, but a lot of that will be coming out in December because me and Alex are taking a break. I'm going to play Mario RPG, probably with Alex, because I'll probably get stuck. I'm going to play Persona 5 Tactical and a crap ton of Modern Warfare Zombies. And don't bother me for a month. But
I am going to play all of the RPGs that I either didn't get for review or have time to purchase for myself. Hopefully right around Christmas. I'll be spending basically probably 2 to 3 weeks where maybe I'll do some streaming while we're off. So you might see me popping up on the YouTube. We have Twitch, but YouTube lets me stream at 4K and 1440p.
Oh,
yeah, and it's actually less of a load on my computer because I can do AV1. So I might be streaming on there. I might just be recording clips. We might have some funny stuff come out. Christmas is a Monday, which is when we usually have a show come out. Maybe we'll have a special. We'll see.
Yeah, we have been talking about it. Like, I would love to do something about, like, there's always Christmas episodes of like sitcoms, and I know James Rolfe did Halloween specials. I kind of wouldn't mind doing like a Christmas special of like our favorite sitcom or something like that. That might be really simple.
Like, I might dig in and try to find stuff from the sappy era of the 80s and 90s sitcoms. Of maybe we'll see what there was available. Maybe you and I can watch a couple and talk about them.
Yeah, because I think that might be a lot of fun, because sitcom Christmas specials in the 80s and 90s hit way different than ones that were done post 2000, especially when people started to think about how things were portrayed. I mean, you think about the Friends Thanksgiving episodes, as classic as they are, that show has been seen as problematic in the last couple of years. So yeah, I think it'll be fun to look at stuff from a different perspective from like our childhoods.
You know that we have to talk about the Seinfeld Festivus episode in that.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
There has to be a Festivus for the rest of us. A non-denominational, non-religious holiday where you can air all your grievances, wrestle for power
around the pole.
Around which, for years after that, Walmart and other places sold a Festivus pole locally.
Oh my god, that's phenomenal.
You could buy it today. It's just a steel pole with like basically just an aluminum pole that was like fitted with a Christmas tree stand, and you could just decorate it. It was just called the Festivus pole.
I love it. And that's what'll probably be end up being our holiday special. But guys, it never stops here. I know next week on the show, I'm going to have RoboCop Rogue City. I'm currently working through that game, and it's better than I expected. So that's my early preview on that. I should have some Dungeons and Dragons stuff for next week. I might have some other stuff, but either way, me and Alex are going to barrel towards it. You're going to hear a thing from me on Alex's review show that'll be coming out this week. I'm promising it right now, so I get it done. You're going to hear the Ninja Foodie Power Mixer System. And that means Blair will be doing more Christmas baking, which I'm sure Alex will be delighted to hear.
Yes, very much so. I should be receiving some more stuff from Kensington to check out before the holiday gift guide comes out, which, as you know, I've talked before about the keyboard and the headset and some of the other stuff that they sent for back to school. And now they've got some stuff for their holiday times. And I'm checking out I think it's a couple different mice, one with a trackball, as well as some other stuff that fits into the multiple ranges of like sub $25, sub $50, sub $100 categories for gifts, as well as I'm working on Like a Dragon, The Man Who Erased His Name. Sega sent that over a few days back, and I've been working on it. Well, about a week ago now, and I've been slowly working on it because I had to catch up on some of my other stuff. And I've got a few other things in the pipeline to look at. Some stuff from CBS Paramount Video sent over, and probably by the time this comes out, probably more games.
Oh my God, the game. So guys, we are going to have a lot of cool stuff to talk about. So again, thank you for joining us. We definitely appreciate you. So guys, have yourselves a happy Thanksgiving. And we look forward to seeing you on the last show of the year. Actually, no. Is it the last show? No, we still have one more show after this. So we'll be back on the 27th with RoboCop and more weird stuff. Either way, guys, have yourselves a fantastic and safe Thanksgiving. Do not reach across the table and punch Grandpa. It's just good advice. So until next time, we have been...
Unless his heart stops, and that's going to kick it back into gear.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you have to save his life, it's okay to punch Grandpa. We have been...
Alex, the producer, saying only punch Grandpa if it saves his life.
I've been Mike the Birdman saying, try not to eat too much turkey. We'll catch you guys again next week right here on This Week in Geek.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at thisweekingeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
Lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.